Hi everyone, this is Satish Shole, Civil Engineering Department, VSM Pani. Today we are going to see regarding uh, chlorination. Used in developing countries. So chlorine is available in form of gases, liquid and solid, especially in the bleaching powder itself. So when we add in chlorine, hypochlorous acid and hypochlorite ions. Okay, so immediately there is a destruction of microorganisms, and the following reaction is taking place. Okay, and the chlorous acid is highly unstable. Okay, what it does, it break up into hydrogen ions and hydrochloric ions. So this is that following reaction taking place. And chlorine is generally applied in the form of the following itself. So it is been applied in liquid form or in the chlorine gas, okay, or in the combination. Hypochlorites are being used in form of bleaching powder. Chloromides are used in the form of ammonia and chlorine itself, and in the form of chlorine dioxide. Okay, so these are the general forms of chlorine which is being used. So there are some advantages and precautions that has to be maintained. Okay, so chlorine can be easily manufactured over here. That's a big advantage. It's a powerful oxidant. Okay, it tend to penetrate wall of microorganisms. It tend to kill those things. Okay, and you can precisely you can dose it over there. Okay, simple tests are there which from which you can detect the chlorine, means how much amount of chlorine is been present in that. Okay, and it tend to generally kill all the organic and inorganic constituents which are present in water, which tend to harm the human body itself. Okay, and there are some precautions. It is a highly corrosive material, so storing, you have to maintain a means you have to store into a sealed container distance apart from your treatment plant itself. Okay, so it contained a phenol component. Okay, reaction with chlorine, what happens here is it results into formation of cancer substance if phenol content is there in the water itself. Okay, so that is one of the major disadvantage of chlorine. Next, there is a two words. One is in residual chlorine, one is in chlorine demand. So what do you mean by residual chlorine? Residual chlorine is nothing but it is the leftover chlorine after killing, or can say after consumption of chlorine for killing of bacteria like pathogens or reaction with inorganic and organic substance. So leftover part, that is nothing but it's in residual chlorine. So chlorine demand is nothing but it's a difference between the quantity applied per liter and residual chlorine. Okay, so that is nothing but it's in chlorine demand, and normally in residual chlorine is left around 0.2 mg per liter is required. Next, type of chlorination. So there are 7 types of chlorination. Okay. Plain chlorination, pre-chlorination, post-chlorination, double chlorination, breakpoint chlorination, superchlorination, and dechlorination. Okay, so we are going to see that one by one. So first one, what is an plain chlorination? So plain chlorination is nothing but only chlorine is added, no other treatment is been given. Okay, so that indicates in plain chlorination. Directly what we do, we feed the chlorine into raw water and directly send to an distribution network or distribution system. Only chlorine treatment is given. So what it does, it helps to kill the bacteria, organic matter, color, okay, from the raw water itself. And technically speaking, we use it for in lakes or in reservoir, okay, where the turbidity is less and the turbidity lies between 20 to 30 mg per liter. Okay, and we tend to use a sufficient quantity of chlorine, about 0.5 mg per liter or more than that. So that is a plain chlorination. Only chlorine you are going to add it, no treatments, no any other treatments you are going to do for that raw water, and directly you are sending that raw water to the distribution system. So that is nothing but that's a plain chlorination. Pre-chlorination is nothing but you are applying a chlorine just before infiltration, okay, or just before in sedimentation unit itself, just before in sedimentation unit or just before in filtration unit. So what it does, it help in coagulation process, it reduces the load on filtration, okay, and it reduces taste, odor, algae, or you can say any microorganisms, which is as high as 5 to 10 mg per liter over here. Now what do you mean close coordination? So close coordination is added at the end of treatment. You can say just after your filtration process, or in if it is a normal conventional treatment plant, you can say just after a secondary sedimentation tank. Okay, so after you can say a biological treatment unit itself. Okay, so you can add in tertiary or you can add in final treatment unit itself. That is when you are adding to that part, that is called as a post chlorination. It is adopted after filtration and before the water enters the distribution system. Okay, so you are adding that chlorine over there. Okay, and you are what you are doing, you are leaving some residue over there. So residue is, it will be in between 0.1 to 0.2 mg per liter. So what do you mean by residual chlorine? Residual chlorine is nothing but when it's a leftover chlorine. Okay, when all the microorganisms are used for killing that chlorine, afterwards what is been left, that has been known as an residual chlorine. It's a left chlorine. Okay, after a contact period of 20 minutes. So why this residual chlorine has been left? Residual chlorine has been left because if there is a further contamination is been taking place, that chlorine will look after that future contamination part. So this is all about post chlorination. Next, double chlorination. So double chlorination is nothing but it's a twice chlorination. You are doing chlorination part twice, okay, to that raw water. You are doing pre-chlorination as well as post chlorination. So that is generally termed as an double chlorination. So why we are going to do it? If water is highly turbid, is a highly pollutant present in that, okay, for those cases you are going for double chlorination method. Now this is an important term. What do you mean breakpoint chlorination? Okay, normally it is at the point C. Okay, so breakpoint chlorination is nothing but, in usual term what I can say is nothing but after whatever the chlorine is been consumed by a microorganism, whatever chlorine is been left, when you add again further chlorination, it becomes residue or it becomes free chlorination. Okay, or can you say it becomes a free residual chlorine itself. So that is called as breakpoint of chlorination. Okay, so you can see here as per the statement, the breakpoint chlorination is a term given such an idea of the extent of chlorine that is been added to the water. Okay, so how much extent you are going to add means beyond that what happens there is it becomes an residue. In fact, that the dosage beyond the chlorination part which further added, which represents as an free chlorination. Okay, so what happens here is the chlorine when you add to in water, okay, the ammonia which has been present, it forms a chloromines. Okay, and this can be tested, the residual chlorine can be tested, okay, by the test as DPT test. Okay, you can test for both residual chlorine and how much the free chlorine is even present in that. Okay, now we will see what exactly meaning of breakpoint of chlorination. Okay, imagine that you are adding in a tank, you are adding chlorine. Okay, for killing the bacteria. So there is a graph which has been representing this. This is an residual chlorine in terms of mg per liter. This is applied chlorine. Okay, so what do? You tend to add chlorine. Okay, and chlorine is been consumed by killing the bacteria, and the amount of chlorine shall be slightly, it means what you want to say in this further part is, see, residual chlorine will be always less than whatever chlorine you are adding. For example, if you are adding say around 10 mg per liter a chlorine, okay, your residual chlorine will not be at 10 mg per liter, but it will be slightly less than that. It may be a 4 mg per liter, it may be 3 mg per liter. So that meaning itself. Okay, so what happens from the point A and B, it will be slightly less. Okay, beyond that point B, what happens that the organic matter will get oxidized and chlorine consumption will take place, and suddenly there is a falling graph which is being represented in terms of B and C. Okay, at the point C, when you add a further chlorination, what happens that it will be equal to free chlorine, because it will be not being consumed, because there is no microorganisms to consume that chlorine or to kill that microorganism. There will be no chlorine, sorry, no microorganisms will be left over there, okay, to oxidize. So whatever will be there, that will be in free chlorine itself, okay, and nothing will be left for utilization over there. So this point C is nothing but it's a point called as an what, breakpoint of chlorination. Okay, beyond this point what happens, there will be a free chlorine. Okay, and you can see here what it says, that beyond point C the further addition will equal to free chlorine, and since nothing shall be left for utilization. So this point C is nothing but it's a breakpoint of chlorination. Okay, and generally what we do, we keep some residual chlorine, okay, near to 0.02 to 0.3 mg per liter as free chlorine, because it should take care of further contamination. Okay, so that we are going to look after that. So what is in superchlorination? So superchlorination is nothing but you are keeping some excessive chlorine over there. It is around 0.005 to 15 mg per liter for a contact period of 10 to 30 minutes. Okay, under what circumstances? Under where there is an heavy pollution present, and during a epidemic breakout, okay, especially waterborne diseases. So what we do, we put up in superchlorination. You add a huge quantity of chlorination beyond a break point, okay, about 1 to 2 mg per liter beyond the breakpoint chlorination. Okay, but the desirable limit of chlorination dosage is around 0.1 to 0.2 mg per liter. Now dechlorination. So dechlorination is nothing but you are removing the chlorine from the water itself. When you add a superchlorination, that superchlorination sometimes it will be harmful for the human body itself. Okay, it will be beyond the desirable limit. So you need to reduce that chlorine. So for that, okay, we go for dechlorination, and you tend to keep the chlorine beyond a residual chlorine of 0.2 to 0.3 mg per liter, which is in recommended. You try to keep this one. Okay, so in the dechlorination part, we use certain chemicals, or what we do, we simply aerate the water itself. Okay, so whatever the chemicals which are being used for dechlorination process are called as dechlorating agents, okay, such as sulfur dioxide gas, activated carbon, sodium thiosulfate, and ammonia. When sulfur dioxide gas is being dosed of 0.3 to 0.6 ppm for a contact period of 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so for this one, if you do it, there is a dechlorination taking place using sulfur dioxide, and ammonia is also being used as a dechlorination part. Okay, it is very much effective and economical also. Okay, so this was all about chlorination. Thank you very much. Stay home, be safe. Okay, so wait for my further lectures. Thank you very much.